TV. We're doing a little special. We're doing the Legends. You might wonder what this is all about. Before we talk, how you all doing tonight? You all good?
Yeah, doing well, man.
Yeah,
So what we're going to
Makeup's on.
we're trying something a little bit different due to the severe levels of boredom. Each player in the team has selected a formation and a team of the best players they have seen live. There's a couple of rules with it that they cannot pick two players from the same nation, and they have to put themselves in that formation. And it has to be from a game that they have seen a competitive playing. So, John, how does it feel being back on Zoom since you've went national?
I mean, totally. Can I just say it was totally unexpected? First of all, you guys done me a belter, to be honest. Hook, line, and sinker. It was unbelievable. Pity I can't remember it though, because that was it only went downhill from there after that night. But less said about that, the better.
It's been a bit worrying, obviously, the amount of messages about the video was 3 or 4 minutes, but everyone seems to be mentioning the fact that who's the guy in the red dress. So
I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's all good. It's all good.
So, Louis, we've obviously got you on tonight just to discuss the stats. You've got the glasses on to add the effect, which is great. So, Jamie, we've got you on just because you're not doing anything else. And
thanks, mate. Yeah, well, it's good to be valued.
And Jive, we've just got you on for your patter. And he is really, really enjoying the makeup aspect of this Zoom. So, really, we're going to go to Jake in a minute, just with the live draw. So we've got 24 players from the squad. They've all selected their own teams based on the players they've watched live. And we're going to do the draw. And we're going to go to Jake. We're going to go straight to Wilson Street live for the draw right now.
Welcome everybody to the first round of the Hill Greatest Ever Team Viewed Selection Draw. As for the viewers' discretion at home, yes, I am sitting in my own flat on a Saturday night wearing a shirt and tie, but as times are such, let's get on with the draw. You'll see I have a Hill hat here. I have got 24 members entering the hat who will be drawn at random, Rod Stewart style. We have, due to the numbers, we have 16 teams getting drawn to play against each other, so 8 first round ties and then 8 byes. So without further ado, let's get on with the draw. The first name out of the hat, a home draw for them, is number 3, which is Jamie Parker. Well played. Number 7, that is Andrew Arbuckle. So a meeting of striker and manager. That'll be a tasty affair. The first bye who goes into the second round is number 8. That is Innes, assistant manager Innes. For the second game, the home team for the second game is number 23, which is Everything's Great in America, John Mullen. Taking him down to the Cabinet City. He will be playing number 11, which is Red Ross. Oof, it's a bit of a staunch tie there. The second bye into the second round of the competition is number 19. That will be Mr. Martin Lavery. Hey, Martin Lavery. The third game, the home team for the third game is number 24. That is Ian, I'm the worst drunk, can't hold my drink, Robinson. He will be playing number 18, which is Michael Warnes. The next team for a bye, let's see, hope you're all keeping track, is number 10, Gregory Malloy. absolute star. And the fourth tie, the first player on a home draw is number 2, which is Louis. Loves a bit of Elton John, that man. He'll be playing number 20, which is Callum Patrick.
Easy.
Bye. And then getting a bye off the back of that game is number 17, which is Duncan Monaghan Brash, not Duncan Brash, as he likes to be called. And the next tie, home team, is number 12. That is Callum James. He just loves cricket. No. He will be playing number 22, which is Luke Murray. The person getting by off of the back of that tie, just about as good as my tie, to be honest, is number 21, which is Jack Bain. And the next round, or the next game rather, is number 5, which is We're Alive and Kicking. It's Jive Alive. He will be playing. There's some interesting names still to go in this hat. Number 16, which is Scott the Salmon. He'll be
Easy.
Scott will be piping his way to victory, no doubt, at the World Pipe Bound Championships. And the person getting a bye from that round is the one and only Quicksand Dodsey. The next tie, getting into the final few here, is, pick 2 at the hat, that one will go. The home team is number 9, Kyle. He will play number 6, myself. Any luck, Kyle? I've got a good team. The person getting a bye from that game is number 1. That is Mr. Ian Brown. Could be a tasty matchup in the next round. And the next game from that is number 13, which is Mr. Craig McKeegan. And he will be playing, final name out the hat, unless I've missed anybody, is number 4, John.
Battle of the newbies.
I believe that is the draw complete. And if there's anything else, then that's brilliant.
The bye.
Oh yes, sorry. I've got one last one here. A bye from that round is number 14. It is the doctor himself, Dr. Dermot Sullivan. Best of luck, boys. I feel like a prick dressed up like this, but best of luck. Hope you've all got good teams selected.
Good luck with the takeaway, Jake.
And an ambulance about to come.
So, guys, that's the draw. Looking in front of us, it looks like there'll be a couple of nice wee battles in there. Obviously, starting tomorrow, we'll have 2 games. We'll have Parker against Arbuckle in Game A, and then we'll have John Mullen against Ross Mulholland in Game B. And we'll set them off at different times and give them 24 hours to get as many votes as they can. So we're going to be putting this out through social media. Starting with you, Jive, looking across there, looking at all the players, who would you say has probably got the best chance?
Looking at all the players in the teams, have you got the teams there?
Yeah.
I can't see
that's what I'm saying. Who do you think? Looking at all the players in the squad, do you think it's going to have like the best experience, and who's went and watched the most football?
Me, of course. Scott the Salmon, you're absolutely on the end of a beasting.
What about you? What about you, Louis? What you're looking at somebody there? Who do you think the favourite is? Are going to win the competition?
I mean, I think its age comes down to is a huge factor that kind of comes down to who's going to win this. I think Jive has, he's seen a lot of very good players across his time, and I think the younger boys in the team are going to definitely struggle, given that we maybe haven't been able to see some of the legends of the game that people like Jive have been able to see.
He's seen a lot in life, just in general, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Some things that you don't want to see either.
What about you, Jamie? Who would you say?
I think that's hard to disagree with. I think Jive's got plenty of experience, shall we say. Bucko, though, is well travelled. I think he'll have seen a fair amount. He follows Scotland, doesn't he? So I think he's seen a lot of international teams.
Yeah.
But Jack Bain, maybe, just a bit of a dark horse for me. I think Jack Bain could be a shout.
Because of his dad?
I think just he'll have seen a lot. So seen a lot of teams, particularly when Rangers were pretty good back in the day. So he could have seen a lot of kind of big European teams.
Yeah.
Maybe Jack's a bit of a shout.
John, this is a wee bit harder for you with being a new player, but is there anybody you think maybe stick out?
Yeah, age is a massive factor, isn't it? I feel like Doddsy and Innes being a little bit older in the team and obviously got to buy into round 2, that's going to play a big influence. They don't have the kind of the fitness. They don't have the fitness issues of going through a round 1 tie. So that's going to play a bit of a
They just don't have the fitness.
factor.
That's what you're saying, John.
I tried to get out there, Innes. I tried to get out there, Jive. But I think Dermot's going to be a bit of a dark horse.
Yeah.
I don't know. Quite quietly confident. I think they're sitting in the last pick of the bunch in the tie. So I think maybe Dermot's got a lot to say. But I'm quite confident with my team as well. Although I'm maybe, a bit one of the younger members, hopefully. But it's all to play for, isn't it? You don't know whose teams, who's got who. So it's going to be interesting.
Any dark horses, you think? Anybody you think that we don't think is going to be that great, and they'll probably put out a strong team?
Yeah. So I agree with John there. Dermot's the man.
We have seen Dermot's team, yes.
No, me and you, Louis,
Not yet.
I've seen Dermot's team.
Okay.
So. Louis, what about you? Who do you think could potentially be the dark horse?
Well, to be fair, I know he's young and raw, but Ross has seen a lot of good players looking through that team. I think he's the dark horse indeed. Mm-hmm.
See, I suppose you can look at it as an age thing, and I think that's an obvious thing to look at, and it is true. The longer you've been alive, the more games of football you've seen. But I think a lot of it's down to lifestyle as well. Have you travelled away, European games? Have you went down and watched games down in England and such?
Yeah,
so
exactly. We know Ross loves to follow a certain team. So,
Jamie, who do you think would probably is going to be struggling the most?
Difficult to say. I got to go with the younger guys, maybe like Scotty Salmon, Callum, maybe just again guys that maybe haven't seen as much. I think age is a factor. So maybe some of the younger boys here. Yeah,
there's also tunnel vision, if you know what I'm saying.
We don't, Jive.
I.e., like you just look at the Rangers, the Celtic, and all that kind of thing.
I think it does play a big factor of what team you support, because if you have seen European football, if you are like some Rangers or Celtic fan, you're going to maybe have a bit of advantage over myself as a Park Thistle fan. So you may be relying a bit more on international games, international fixtures, and that's maybe one to consider as well. So the likes of maybe quite a lot of Celtic fans have seen Barcelona players quite a lot of the time. AC Milan in the past, quite a lot of big names in those big European sides that maybe definitely the likes of Park Thistle have never seen. So,
will we take a little look at the first game then, Parker against Buckle? So, lads, looking at the two teams, we'll start by looking at Buckle's team. He decided to go with a 3-5-2, which is quite ironic because he says he hated playing a 3-5-2 with Jordan Hill. So, Buckle is one of two players who could have actually played a Scottish player, because we might not have covered this already, but obviously you can't pick another Scottish player because you have to put yourself in there. So he could have actually played as a German, as he was born in Germany. How was it you call him again, Jive?
Oh, you put him on the spot. I can't remember. Sorry.
Was it not
Mein Führer?
The Führer, or was it the Higher Buckle? I can't remember what you call him. But so he's went McCann in goals. He's put himself in the centre, either side of Ferdinand and Thuram. He's played Laudrup, Pirlo, Iniesta, De Bruyne and Bale, and he's went with Aguero and Robin up front. So really strong team. It'll be interesting to actually hear from Buckle where he's seen them play and what games. And then we'll take a little look. Any comments really on that, Jamie? Are you worried?
Yeah. He's got something my team certainly don't, which is balance. It's a shape that probably works for the players he's got, which I don't think mine does.
He's also got a formation that's used.
That exists, in football and circles. So yeah, looks good.
Excellent.
Buckle looks like the weak link.
No, he's holding it together.
He's obviously Louis. He's went with Jose Mourinho as well as the manager. So you'd imagine he would,
I would imagine that is to shut out Jamie's fairly attacking team. He's obviously thought about this.
Obviously, looking on to Jamie's team, it's very attacking. We'll hear what Jamie has to say about it, but we'll go to John. John, what do you think of Jamie's team there? Obviously led by Steven Gerrard. He's kind of went with a kind of Christmas pudding.
Christmas tree, but with the wing backs here holding in midfield.
It's more of a Christmas pudding, isn't it, Mike?
Well, if you like, yeah.
Really, isn't it? It's like 3-1 kind of formation. What do you think, John?
It's definitely unorthodox, but anything we know about Steven Gerrard, I mean, he's had a good season this season, so I mean, there's nothing to say that you can't do anything with that team. Absolutely, it is interesting formation. That's obviously maybe those players haven't particularly played, or anybody's played in that type of formation before. But interesting to see how the players will shape up. So you've got the likes of a battle of two massive keepers in European football, Buffon, and world football, Buffon against Oliver Kahn. Interesting enough, they've got three similar players in the team. So you've got Thuram, De Bruyne and Laudrup. So they maybe cancel each other out. But I mean, you can't argue for the likes of Ronaldinho, Juan Sebastian Veron, Mendieta, and Georgie Hagi, absolute giants of football.
This won't be the last time this happens, but we've actually got Parker up against Buckle as well. If Parker's playing through the middle and Buckle's in the middle of the three, and we've all seen Buckle do his knee, hence the name Buckle. So, Jamie, how you feeling? Confident?
Yeah,
the Buckle okay. Boom's coming your way.
Feeling okay. I've not played for a long time, but I think I've still got enough pace for Buckle.
Fantastic, guys.
Good.
He won't let you past you, Jamie. No way
you. No, I won't. By all means necessary. So,
Louis, obviously having looked at the draw and being our stat man, you've had a wee look at some stats. Would you like to tell the public some of the facts?
Sure thing, Bruni. I'd love to tell the public. So yeah, a few names, a few names came up quite a lot. So what I thought I'd do is I'd go through, kind of goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, forward, see, who's been picked the most in the teams. For the goalkeeper, we've got Manuel Neuer. He's been selected in 4 teams, and that is the most for any goalkeeper. Defender, we've got Virgil van Dijk, who has been selected in 11 teams, and that's also the joint top player in terms of selections. Midfielder, Kevin De Bruyne. Jamie, that's been in your team as well, I'm pretty sure. He's been selected in 9 other teams. And forward, unsurprisingly, Lionel Messi. He's been selected in tons of teams as well.
Tons, is that like tons? So it went from 3
tons
to 11.
Is the scientific tons is the scientific term, Jamie.
Can that be proved? Everybody's seen him in the flesh. This is what we want to say.
Exactly. Also, just in terms of some nationalities, we've got some interesting facts to share. Spain has come up the most. So out of the 24 teams, 20 of those teams have included Spanish players. Andres Iniesta is the most featured player for Spain. Sitting at number 2, we've got Holland, who have had 19 players show up. And just in terms of the number of players that we've had, we've got 137 different players picked by different teams throughout this, which is quite a lot of variety we've got in this tournament.
I tried doing the graph.
It's a great tournament.
Great tournament.
It will be a great tournament. There's some.
Louis, do you know? Sorry.
On you go, John.
I was just wondering if you know how many different nationalities there are.
I do know that. So if we exclude Scotland, because obviously we had to include ourselves in this, and I thought I'd take that out. We've got 44 other nationalities in this in this draw. And some of these nationalities are players that only shot once. So we've got Slovakia, Norway, Nigeria, Morocco, Montserrat. Just one player showing up from these nations. Montserrat.
Louis, I don't want you to give anything away here, but have you included Eric Jemba in your team?
I've actually.
Jemba! It's an unbelievable finish. What a goal! Look at the smile.
Actually, not.
Come on.
We could have. There's a certain doctor in the team who probably was struggling with that very decision himself.
Yeah.
But
no. Superb, Louis. Superb. Okay, lads. Just before obviously the competition starts tomorrow, you're probably thinking about your own teams, about who you're playing. Louis, we'll go to you first. How did you find the whole process actually putting the team together? It must have been difficult as a St Mirren fan, was it?
Yes. Well, as a St Mirren fan and having been to many St Mirren matches, you're not really looking through many legends of the game there. So I was having to kind of think back to other times, and I unfortunately probably haven't been to too many incredible games throughout my life, and therefore my choices were fairly slim. I think my biggest struggle was choosing between Xavi and Iniesta, and then in the end I had to go for Iniesta, and I think a few people may have had a similar choice to make and they went for Xavi, having looked at the teams. So I think that was the toughest choice I've had to make, but I've got Messi in there, so I'll win any game.
And how are you feeling about playing CP?
I'm happy I have a guy who is younger than me and therefore hopefully has seen less legends of the game than me, and I think it's a draw that I look on favourably, and it could have been much harder for me.
Yeah, John, we'll go to you. In terms of, was it easy? Was it difficult putting the team together? I know you watch a lot of Scotland games.
It was interesting because the rules changed halfway through the competition started. So thanks for that, Bruni. But apart from that, it was quite difficult, and my kind of Scotland games kind of played into my hands here, and that's kind of what took me through for a lot of these good players that I've got in my squad. Me and my dad travelled down to Skye a couple of weekends when I was younger, maybe for quite a lot of Euro qualifying draws. That's maybe what's kind of tipped me over the edge for some of these good so-called legends in the squad. But yeah, it was pretty difficult trying to get 12 nationalities in that starting 11, and I had to play about with a couple of things. I'm playing it in an unorthodox right centre back position, but I mean the team makes up for it, I think. But we'll wait and see until the draw comes. I'm last to play, I think, so be interesting at the end of the week.
We're obviously now we're able to identify Jamie's team. We'll talk through his team maybe briefly about how difficult it was, but we'll go to Jive. Jive, obviously, and there's a couple of surprises in there, but there's one or two that I was expecting. How did you find the whole kind of process?
It was really difficult. So the first thing this morning, I woke up to your reminder, for fuck's sake, Jive. I'm like, oh, Christ, okay. So I actually started by thinking about the first Scotland internationals that I went to, at Hampden, and what teams that I went to see. So
you're going to give any away, Jive? Yeah.
Sorry?
You're going to let us know what teams?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to give you a player at the moment, but no, I'm just saying the first Scotland international I ever went to was in 1981 at Hampden, and it was Scotland-Sweden. And we won 2-0, and it was the same night as Norway beat England. So that kind of set the standard. So I was like thinking, right, what games have I been at Hampden? And what were the teams? So I was trying to find that on bloody Google and all that stuff. And then it came to me, well, it doesn't have to be that way. It has to be, what have you seen with Dundee and stuff like that? I.e., good reminder. Brunei about Canada and stuff like that. So then that's the obvious one. And then you know what happened today? I've got a drawer of all the tickets of the games that I've kept that I've been to. And me and Eden were sitting, and I said, Eden, we need to sort these out into date order. So it was then I went through all the tickets that I've got in the house. And also before that, looking at what games I was at and stuff like that, and it sent you the team. So it's been brilliant. So who knows? There was a couple of wild cards that I thought we'd put in there that you guys would probably be. Okay, John Barnes, right? John Barnes was one that I was going to put in the team, and I'm sure everybody would be saying, what John Barnes? But have you seen John Barnes' goal against Brazil when?
A lot of people, if you say John Barnes, they will still remember that goal.
Ball there for Barnes. Now can he take Leandro? John Barnes now. Might go all the way for England. Barnes.
I don't remember.
Whatever it was in the 1983 or something like that. Barnsley was superb, but he never made it, and it looks like somebody else got in front of him. But that's the way I did it. But it was difficult, really difficult. But it was great.
Jamie, we've obviously seen your team, how attacking it is, and it's obviously it resembles your character, doesn't it? Just scoring more goals than the other team. And we could maybe spend a wee bit of time going through it. But did you find the process pretty easy? I mean, I know that you've had a chat with your dad about like how that went. How did you find the process?
Well, it was quite straightforward because when you look at it, I think it's quite easy to see which teams that I've seen play at Ibrox, and that's the kind of way I went for it, with the exception of De Bruyne. Obviously, I saw when he was playing at Man City, and one of the school trips I've been on. But most of my team come from like 4 or 5 fixtures that I've seen at Ibrox. So the 2 Parma teams that came at Ibrox, Valencia, Galatasaray, Farhadi. So it was actually quite straightforward. At that time, those kind of 3 or 4 years, Rangers did play some of the best teams in Europe and kind of held their own a little bit. So it was quite straightforward to do that. The difficult bit was going for the kind of 50-50 split that John was talking about. So there you go, Buffon or Cannavaro. Like, there's 2 guys that played at Ibrox, although Cannavaro played for 18 minutes before he gets sent off at Ibrox that night, but still, you take him at the peak of his powers. So I kind of pumped for Buffon there, but no, pretty straightforward given the teams that I was lucky enough to see.
So it was obviously we were gonna let kind of the wider community of the Hill in. We were gonna speak to Jake's dad. We were gonna get some of the other dads involved as well, and we were gonna invite Jim. But actually, after seeing your dad's team, it wouldn't have been a competition.
No,
and it's something we'll put out there. But it's an unbelievable team. I don't think anybody could produce anything as.
Yeah, we did that kind of in the first lockdown, kind of similar sort of thing. We didn't have obviously for that team that he produced, we didn't have the one player from every nation rule at that point. But even at that, there would be no point in having a competition if that team was involved. It was a who's who of world football from almost when records began. It's incredible.
You want it? It's amazing. If you want to pick like a world 11, like the amount of names that would be in that selection is incredible. Just off the bat of your head.
You should put that, Brynny, you should put that up as like the gold standard, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we will. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're definitely going to put that up. I think we'll maybe do it later in the week. So, right, I'll go round to you. We're just finishing off, so we'll go round each of you, and you're going to pick a player that you didn't have a chance to include either because there was a clash in nations, or you've just not had the opportunity to see them. So we'll go back the other way. Jamie, we'll start with you. Like, who would you have picked if you had the chance?
Not a regret, obviously, because I've never had the opportunity to, but I've never seen the kind of the Barcelona team that had your Xavis, your Iniestas and Messi's and that in it. I know kind of Celtic fans in the team will have had that opportunity a few times. So I'd have loved to have had the opportunity to put some of them in, but just haven't had the chance.
What about you, Jive?
Well, I just missed out on Maradona because he played Scotland in 1978, and I could have been there, but it was 1981 when I first went to.
It was his debut for Argentina against Scotland, wasn't it?
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yep, and he scored, and he was only 17, so just missed him. But I did catch up with him. He was the manager when they played Scotland at Hampden.
That was his first game as manager as well, actually, John.
Yes, it was, and I didn't put him as manager because he was shite manager. So I'm trying to see if I've got sorry. And the other thing was I did put him down. Sorry, I did put him down as manager, but then I forgot that fucking Caniggia was in the team.
Like, Jive, when you turned your face here,
Got a lipstick.
It's not real lipstick.
John, what about you, mate? Like, would you have had a chance to put a player in?
I mean, growing up, I absolutely loved the Real Madrid Galacticos team. And I remember going to Barcelona on holiday one year, but I was too young. I remember taking a tour of the new camp, and I was looking back, and I was trying to message my dad, thinking, Dad, did we go to a Barca game that day? And if so, who was it against? Because I would love to put Luis Figo in there before he moved to Real Madrid. I think he's an absolute machine of a player and one of my favourite players. So I loved Spanish football growing up. The Galacticos in Barcelona, but I didn't ever get a chance to see them. One that I wanted to put in my team, kind of like Parker, was I went down to see Man City play in the school trip. I would have definitely had Guardiola in my team, but then it was a toss-up of who'd you put ahead of him. You know, it's kind of with that Spanish connection for the nationalities. So I went in for Xavi in midfield instead of Guardiola. But again, it's tough to decide just one Spanish player. You know, it's unbelievable.
Louis, what about you?
For me, probably my biggest struggle was deciding between the English players in my team. So I had the privilege of going down to see Manchester United play, and it was a huge match. It was the one that they won 1-0 against Sunderland, but at the same time, Man City won 3-2 versus QPR on the last day of the season. And
So
during that game, both
you at the Etihad?
No. That would have been even better. But no, we were. I can't remember the name of the stadium, but we were at the Sunderland ground. We were in the Sunderland end.
St Mary's.
Oh,
Stadium Light. Sorry.
Aye. So it was that was amazing. But that day we got to see Scholesy and Rooney play, and I've went for Scholes over Rooney, but I think both of them I wanted in my team, and that was a struggle between those two. And some people might probably disagree with that choice.
I could have had Rooney in my team, but I remembered I played Scotland, England. It was a friendly at Parkhead. That was my first Old Enemy match, and I could have put Rooney in there, but I realised it was a friendly. So thanks for that, Brun.
No worries. So we're going to finish up, guys. I hope it's been good chatting. We'll be doing a couple more Zoom sessions with different players as we go through the games. Good luck with the competition, and we'll see how it goes. It's down to the public who they pick. So enjoy. I'll speak to you all soon.
Cheers, Brun. Thanks, guys.
Brun.